Hello and welcome to Laundromat Ownership. I'm your host, Ian Gollahon. Me and my business partner, Brian Henderson, own 3 laundromats in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. In 2025, those 3 laundromats did about $2.5 million in revenue, top line. But we're also the founders of Wash-Dry-Fold POS, which is the original point of sale system for laundromats. And today we have on a very special guest, Brian Henderson's brother, Sean Henderson.
Howdy.
Hey, Sean, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
S- so, the reason I wanted to have Sean on today is because there is a lot of buzz around a software that, as far as I am aware, Sean was the original creator of, certainly this latest generation of this software. And it is essentially this repair ticket tracking software. And what I mean by that is you have a washer or dryer that has an issue. And so then a laundromat attendant could put in a repair ticket describing the issue. And then if you have a facilities guy, he'll get an email about it. If you're the facilities guy, which is probably most of our listeners, then you get an email about it. But it really does kind of solve the problem of, oh, this has been out for weeks and I didn't even know about it. Or where are the parts? Did we order the parts? It really just tracks and centralizes all that information. And we've had that now for quite some time, but other people are, kind of catching on and making their own versions. And so I wanted to talk to Sean a little bit about the inception of this. And Sean, can you tell me kind of in your own words, what was the problem you were trying to solve? Because you were managing Liberty Laundry at the time, right?
Yeah. So I was spread across 3 stores as operations manager, and part of my duties there was also for facilities and equipment maintenance and all that. So I was Mr. Fix-It in the company, 3 stores. It was a very frustrating experience walking into the laundromat, one of the laundromats in the morning, and there's a machine flagged out of service. And if I'm lucky, I get a Post-it note on the desk. If I'm even luckier, I get something more than "it no work good" or something like that, you know?
That sounds right.
And then, and then if I'm even luckier beyond that, I recognize their handwriting because they didn't write their name on it, so I don't even know who to talk to about it. And it ticked me off because it kept happening, and it was just week after week after week, months. And then also when I'd know what I needed to get for a part or for equipment and all that, I needed to hunt for all the info for the machine itself. Sometimes for newer machines, I'd be able to check on the inside of the door and there's the model and serial, or I'd have to climb to the back of the machine in like a tiny little crawl space to look at a sticker for a model and serial number. And I was getting sick of that too. And it's just like, I need all that right now. So I just, I needed some sort of communication tool. That was one of the big things, first and foremost. I need something better than a Post-it note. When I came on board for Wash-Dry-Fold POS, I was champing at the bit, like, I've got a first big project. Like, I know how we can really expand Wash-Dry-Fold POS into more of a laundromat management tool than just a point of sale over the counter, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
No, that makes
yeah.
a ton of sense. And that is pretty consistent, probably, with what most laundromat owners have experienced with communication with their attendants.
Or
It's
lack
like,
thereof. Yeah.
yeah, that one's broke. How long has it been broke? I don't know. Maybe 2 weeks. What's wrong with it? I don't know. It doesn't get hot or something. And it's just like,
Uh-huh. At Liberty Laundry, we had a paper-filled binder that we kept notes and dates of when we fixed stuff and what we fixed it with. And that worked okay. But it was these giant paper binders, and we had 3 stores, and each one of them's at the store itself. And then I'm over at HQ, and I have this faint inkling that washer did the same thing a month ago, and then again a few months ago, and then again a few months, but I don't know for sure. So now I have to drive half an hour back over around town to look at that log to then confirm, so that way I know the part. And then I got to go find the model and see. Anyway,
no,
you
it's,
get where I'm going with this. It's just
yeah,
such a headache. Anyway.
yeah. No, I think what you're bringing up is actually something I've been dealing with a lot recently, which is the distributor, whoever you bought your washers and dryers from, they come over and they charge you the trip charge, which is like,
Right.
200, $300 or whatever.
Nowadays, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and they take a look at it and they say it's broken, and then, we're gonna order a part. Okay, well, did you order that same part last year for that machine? For me, it's become
Yeah,
a tool
warranty
to
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
for me, it's become a tool to make sure they're not overcharging us for, like, are they gonna do a trip charge and then another trip charge when they
Mhm.
because, like, if you're doing a trip charge just to diagnose the problem, I don't need that, right? I already know it doesn't work. I'm telling you to fix it, right?
Yeah.
And so with Liberty Laundry is just making sure we don't get overcharged for everything. Nowadays, it's any of the laundromat attendants can submit the ticket, which is great because then that gives all that info to Trevor, who's our facilities manager,
Mhm.
and then he's able to actually keep track of what parts have been ordered through the distributor and if it's the same machine and all that. And he'll make those notes in
Mhm.
the repair ticket tracker. So when I'm actually looking at that machine, I can see actually this should be covered under warranty and we've had the same issue before.
Mhm.
And do we need to fix something else so it doesn't, keep on having the same problem? So I think yeah, it solves the attendant communication problem.
Yeah, because 'cause they're already at the point of sale using the point of sale, you know? And they're logged in, and they've got their username there, so if they just submit a ticket, then that automatically slaps their name on it, so that way we know who to talk to if, we need more info. And
That's
that
such a good point. Yeah.
yeah, that makes it way easier there. Um,
Because you don't really wanna have to teach every employee have, like, 6 different softwares, and so if this were
Centralized. Yeah.
right, if it were its own standalone software, I'm not sure that that would work because then you've got a login that they have to do, they've gotta remember how to use it, and, I mean, as silly as it sounds with laundromat attendants,
You're
y
putting a higher expectation of, like, I guess, not just computer literacy, but specifically, like yeah. Alright, it's your average Joe, it is wanting something that's just there, I click a button and you use it, you know? They're not gonna be wanting to go to 20 different programs. They're not a programmer or developer.
I think I think part of that too that people don't even think about, but you and I think about because we meet every week together on on product meetings and all that. But like even just having consistency in the software, like there's the green save button, there's the red cancel button, and it's in the same place. And this part works like the rest of the software and all that. And
We
so
try to keep thematically the same, yeah.
that's right. So if they know how to use the rest of it, they know how to do a support ticket.
Yeah.
And so you're not having to teach them a separate software with a separate login. And
Mhm.
to your point, they already have to enter their PIN
Yeah, it's
when they're doing
integrated.
yeah,
Yeah.
when they're doing anything on the software. So they're already essentially logged in. They already
The f
have that.
Yeah, literally the first thing you have to do when you go to the repairs section, of Wash-Dry-Fold POS is enter your PIN, and there it is, 100%. Um, like, another thing that's nice about having this communication tool beyond just what I had before, which was nothing, is requiring them to put in a little bit more letters. It's literally I forget the number of characters that you have to put in to be able to hit the submit, but it's just enough more to be able to have to write more than it doesn't work. Like,
That's right.
yeah.
I remember that. I remember that because I think I was gonna like fool around and put in like a sample ticket. I was like, it
Mhm.
doesn't work. And it's like, I need more info. Can you please be specific about what is not working? Can you,
Yeah.
explain the how did the problem come about? Just give us a sentence, please,
Yeah.
about what is not working so
I
that we're
think
not having to go do
yeah.
all this work on it. Yeah.
I think I had a, I think I used to I don't know if it's still like that, I'd need to check, but I think I used to have a bit of explainer text on there that says, "Please describe any sights, sounds, and or smells." Just like, we need all the info.
I'm not trying to pick on, someone who's trying to build this software from scratch. The motivation for this episode in the first place was okay, why wouldn't you build it from scratch? Well, one of the things is not only do you have, Liberty Laundry being one of the top performing chain of laundromats in the world. Not only was it built there for a, an operation at scale, but then it was built back in what, 2020,
Mhm.
2021. I
Mhm.
mean, it was built a long time ago, and we have hundreds and hundreds of laundromats that use it every day. And so we've improved it every month or two or whatever, however
Mhm.
often we update it. We improve it regularly. And so there's just little things like, well, why would you, require more than 100 characters, or maybe it's 25 characters or something like that? Well, because if you don't require that, people will just say it's broken and you need more information. And so even just having something as simple as asking them what you want from them and then requiring that they actually give you a decent amount of info. I mean, that's something that isn't really a software limitation. That's really just a design thing that you won't know unless you've tried to use it at scale with hundreds of stores over several years.
Mhm.
So I actually think that is pretty on point for what we're discussing. I did have a question that kind of goes along with this about why is it important to have it as the same software as the point of sale software? And one of the things I remember Brian talking about when we were interviewing with Alliance on the Laundry Nerd podcast, he was talking about, well, what's so cool is we already have all the washers and the dryers listed with their serial numbers and the names and all that in the software. And so when we integrated with Alliance, it was easy because you didn't have to recreate that map. But I guess my question is then, what about the reverse of that? What if you already have a new store with quantum machines,
Mhm.
and then instead of kind of building that list with serial numbers like you
Mhm.
typically would for, like, let's say it's an old Dexter store and you've got old Dexter machines. Well, there's no way for us to just pull that list. But with the new Speed Queen API, are we able to just create a list of washers and dryers from just pulling it from the Alliance Insights program, and then that becomes kind of your starter list for the machine repair tracker? Is it a little
For
different
the
from that?
like, on the equipment setup side of it?
Yes, exactly, yeah.
I don't see what I mean, yeah, I mean, the way that um, we have the setup for the machine start integration, um, it starts by us pulling a list of washers and dryers from, Alliance, and then
Right.
we're matching that up with the ones that we've already created in Wash-Dry-Fold POS. So, essentially, it would be like an Alliance equipment setup wizard is essentially what it would be.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and if there were other manufacturers that wanted to do that as well, I mean, we would be happy. We work with everyone, so,
Goodness, yeah,
um
I would love that. I want Wash-Dry-Fold POS to talk to everyone. That would be
exactly,
awesome.
exactly, and then just pull in all that stuff for the machine repair. I mean, it just saves time. It's
Yeah.
not like it's hard to do now, but it would be just even faster when it is actually importing the serial numbers, because
Mhm.
part of what this repair ticket system is the ability to go in and look at all the details on which washer is it, what
Right.
size is it, all the
On the
when did you
equipment
buy it,
itself. Yeah.
what's the history of the problem with, or the history of that piece of equipment, has it had any problems? Another thing that people don't think about, but they tend to get really excited about when I tell them about this was, um, well, yeah, it also works for your vending machines because I know those are always breaking
Yeah.
too, and
Yeah, yeah.
the sliding doors, I know those break all the time too. And
Mhm.
what about the bill breakers? And so, was that something you thought of right from the beginning of, like, I'm just going to put everything that breaks in the laundromat on the repair ticket tracker, not just the washers and dryers, or did that get
Yes.
added later? Okay,
No, it was from the beginning. It was
great.
the thought was any installed equipment that you're wanting to track that sort of stuff, like, vending machines was the big one for me.
Yeah,
Like, we
yeah,
operated our own vending machines in the laundromat, and then just coming in and then having to diagnose, was I'm more of a washer and dryer guy than I am a vending machine guy, let's put it that
right.
way. Um, so having that, so even on the equipment setup page, having those just like a washer or dryer just as another piece of equipment, it won't show up on, like, machine starts or anything like that, but, the only place that those kind of other, equipment, pieces show up is the repairs, page to be able to select it for a history, um, to
That
keep a
makes
history
sense.
of it in the system. Also beyond that, I know that there's always weird stuff. You can't account for anything, and it seems kind of silly to enter in a piece of equipment in Wash-Dry-Fold POS for, like, say, the toilet, so that way you can put in a repair ticket when the toilet is clogged or some weird like that. Um, so I also have, like, a miscellaneous catch-all at the very end of it. It's like, okay, if the if the if the issue is too weird, falls outside of any of the equipment we have listed, select
Well, that's
that and
cool.
tell
So
us
it's like a
more.
one-time use. Like if you only want to have the toilet in the
Yes,
repair tracker once, you can use it
right.
once.
I
I didn't even know
think
we had that. Okay.
yeah, unlisted slash miscellaneous, I think is what the option is.
It makes a lot of sense for it to live in the place where the equipment already lives, especially for other reasons. And as we get deeper into the integrations, you already need that list of washers and dryers anyway. Like even if you have like a fast card or laundry cart system and you're going to start them from the point of sale system, it's like that's already where that list lives. And
Yeah.
so why not just then extend that functionality into the order tracker system? And it sounds like something, I've even had, and this is a credit to you, just to give you your flowers here. But I have had people buy our system, and then I'll talk to them a month or two later and just be like, "How are things going with the system? How are you liking it?" And they're like, "You didn't even tell me about this machine repairs functionality." Is like, I would have bought that. I would have paid, the subscription cost just for that feature. I wouldn't have even, you could have sold me just that, like all the
Mhm.
point of sale and all, which is funny
Mhm.
because we're definitely like a point of sale. It's Wash Rifle POS, right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
it's, we're not the machine repair tracker software, but I mean, we kind of are because that we were the first to kind of come out with it, and then I think we've improved it the most. And in fact, the second motivation I had for this podcast episode was Trevor sent Brian and I a video that was him just talking about how excited he was about the new. There's like a column that is essentially in service or out of service.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
it might have a problem, but it's still in service.
Mhm.
But if it has a problem and it's out of service,
Mhm.
then you can kind of sort it by the top of the list. And I think that was, did Hope recommend that? Who thought of that?
It was Hope and a few other people as well. I'm off the top of my head. Yeah. Yeah. Hope Doolin down in Florida. She's awesome.
Well, she really
um,
is, and it makes the most sense because she's got 30 laundromats. So if you've got 30 laundromats worth of machinery, like there's going to be a lot of broken machines, but you want to be able to focus on the ones that are actually out
mhm.
of order and
So that's
not
that's
able to.
another
Yeah,
yeah, so that's another thing that we discovered from actually having it implemented and then getting that feedback, is that having that just little bit of extra detail is super valuable for technicians to be able to triage for, like, the urgency of an issue. It's like, well, if it's still in service, I'll get to it next time I'm there. But if it's
that's
like a
right.
big problem and then the attendant is able to communicate, like, I had to flag it out of service and it's one of our two big 80-pound washers on a Sunday, our busiest day. I got to go in now.
Yeah.
Um, so
No,
it's super
I mean, that's
helpful.
so different from like there's a small machine that squeaks when you run it. That's a support,
Yeah.
that's a machine repair ticket. And you do need to fix that squeaking, but it's not your 80 pounder being out of service, which actually
Right.
impacts your revenue. And so
Right.
the ability to, yeah, to triage that, I think, I mean, it makes sense now that we've already built it and people have
Mhm.
requested it. But at the time, it was like, why would you even need that? So I think, I think
Yeah.
that kind of goes back to, yeah, go ahead.
At the time, it didn't make sense to do that because the idea was is like, well, I can see that it's out of service. Like there's a ticket on. I need to know what's wrong with it. So it just wasn't a priority for me in the first version that was built for it. But then
Right.
after that, what we noticed and what some of these folks were telling us, is that the problem was is that their attendants were just writing for the description, I put it out of service. And it's like, okay, so we need to have some way to be able to communicate that isn't communicating the problem. Or yeah, you know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah, because if
Um,
that's already a toggle, then like, okay, it's
yeah,
out of
yeah, you get what I'm
service, but
saying.
then
Yeah.
describe what is actually wrong with the
What's
machine,
happening?
please.
Depending on what role you are in the software. So, like for technicians and admins and managers, Like, you don't need to go to the submit a new repair ticket form every single time. You're the one actually fixing it, so it just automatically takes you to the list. Whereas if you're an
Right.
attendant or a lower, then it's gonna take you to the submission first. You can go to either, but it's just more convenient.
Well, I think that is probably one of the last things to cover is the permission levels of
Oh, the
it where
technician role. Yeah.
yeah, the technician role. That's what I was gonna say.
That was another thing that we added on,
Right.
because, I mean, for the guy that's actually fixing it, it's not convenient to have to traipse over to the point of sale computer and shove the attendant out of the way to be able to log in, what you did to
Mm,
fix it, right? So,
yes.
we made a technician role for the employees to be able to go for just the tech, right? So, you enter in the tech info, you set them up with some login credentials, like an email and password, okay? And also, you probably want to toggle on the receive repair ticket emails option.
Yep.
Um, and then that allows them to be able to log into the software from their mobile device. And a technician role is able to really only, when they're logged in with their own credentials, really only able to go to a couple places, which is the equipment setup page to be able to get all that machine info
Yeah.
and the repairs page. I mean, that's it, and that's what they need. And they're able to go in and keep their history, get their info that they need, update the ticket status, all that stuff. And anytime a repair ticket status is updated, that gives another email. So if you're an admin that's set up for repair ticket emails, that's a communication tool for the tech to tell you that they
Right.
fixed it.
And that's what we do with Trevor is he's just fixing stuff, ordering parts,
Hmm.
talking to the distributor and all that, and he just takes all that off our plate, and we just get the emails of,
And as
"Hey,
the
this is what's
owner,
being
you
done."
you
Yeah.
don't need you don't need to be called constantly to be told that you fixed it. It's like I'll see at the end of the day, there it is in my emails that, hey, you fixed that. Hey, you fixed that. Awesome. Way to go, Trevor.
Exactly, exactly. Trevor gets the most shout outs of anyone
He's
on
great. I love
the
him.
yeah.
He's my
'Cause
guy. So it's so funny that he recorded a little video just basically just showering me and Cole with praise. He's so sweet. Because he loves it because he's a facilities manager, and maintenance, and he that kind message echoed what I actually get a lot at previous clean shows and stuff like that, where I'll have the people that actually fix the machines, like once they hear that I made the repairs page, they're like, "You get it." And that feels so good. They're like, yeah, the technicians are the real ones, It's like they get it.
it was so funny how people were like, "Well, it's simple software, right? It just you just like you accept you need to be able to sell some soap over the counter and wash, dry,
Yes.
fold." And it's like
Well, yeah.
that is like 1% of what the software is. And like when we were talking about like, well, why would you need a technician role? Well, if every employee were able to log in from their phone, they would also be able to clock in from their phone. And so you wouldn't be
Potentially.
able to,
Yeah.
yeah, so you wouldn't be able to necessarily tell if they were there in the building or not. And so just the regular staff member doesn't have their own log into the software because you don't necessarily want them on their phones
Mm-mm.
with your software.
No.
They just have the
No.
4-digit PIN. But then for the technician, he actually does need to log into the software. But then what he doesn't need is the ability to do, wash, dry, fold orders or see
I just
reporting and
thought of
stuff like that.
a very strange analog. Okay. If I can
Sure.
put it into a metaphor. Here we go. So the admin and manager login credentials are like the keys to the store itself. It unlocks the front door. It allows the attendants inside the store. The attendant pin is like their signature, right? They're
Right, right,
signing
right.
their work. That's how we know
That's right.
who's doing what.
Mhm.
So if we were to follow that metaphor, simile, then the technician login credentials is like a key, but only to the mechanical room.
That's right. It's like they've got their own little entrance into
Yeah.
the yep. No, and I mean, how would you do that if you were making your own standalone software, A, but then also B, it's not as simple as people think it is, and then it sounds really simple until you actually start using it and you realize that the needs for every role and the needs for every feature within the laundromat management software that we
Mm,
have kind of become,
mhm.
beyond just the point of sale piece of it. Um, Actually, it all does get pretty sophisticated as far as not just functionality, but permission levels, and then UI and user interface for
It's
those who
it's
don't
been
talk about UI all the time.
yeah. It has been, an interesting maturation process for the software.
So let's get into how we're going to vibe code a version of it
You're right.
in 3 days,
Uh-huh.
and how it's going to work just perfectly.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. I really appreciate you coming and getting on the show and telling us all about this feature that you built that not only has been so good that it's added a lot of value to our company, but there have been multiple copycats now, and there's other companies that now have some version, some vastly inferior version of this software. There, yeah, I mean, I'm, I'm I'm kidding, but maybe not. I mean, if they haven't had it as long as we have and they haven't made as many improvements as we have, obviously it's not going to be quite as good. And that is the problem when you try and do something that someone else has been doing for quite some time. It's hard to catch up to them
Mhm,
sometimes.
mhm.
But anything else that you think we should cover or talk about the repair ticket system? I mean,
The repair tickets page, I don't know. It's just I think that it is important for Wash-Dry-Fold POS that we are people that actually have industry experience, you know? I've been in the trenches, so to speak. The washer and dryer, or the washer trenches, you know, the drainage trenches.
right?
That's what
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah,
Yeah,
you've been in the actual
I've been in
trenches.
the
Yeah,
trenches.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
under the bulkheads. Yeah.
you're right, and so I get it, and so a lot of the stuff that we've built initially and continue to build, is because of Liberty Laundry, stuff that we actually need. It's practical,
Mm,
you know. We
yep.
and being able to expand that based on what other people are using it for and their suggestions, adding to it as well. It's so cool. It's so much fun to be a developer in that way.
Well, and that really is, I mean, I listen to a lot of business podcasts where they're always talking about your moat, how's your business defensible? And
Mm,
it's like, yeah, with vibe coding, maybe the software becomes easier to clone or easier to mimic, but
mm,
what is the real moat? Well, the moat is we've got many years and thousands of users that then give us feedback and help us improve,
mhm,
week over week. And of course, we have multiple developers on staff now that are doing that and that are improving. And it's based on the living, breathing organism that is the Wash-Dry-Fold POS customer user base, all the stores that use our um, equipment and our software. It's all now kind of working together as a larger picture, and just kind of gets better over time based on real feedback
mhm,
from real laundromat owners. And that's a hard thing to clone, because how do you just go and get 20% of the total addressable market for um for laundromat point of sale? It's a hard thing to do. And so that kind of becomes the moat of the software to defend it. But anyway, Sean, thank you for joining us, for
mhm.
joining me, and
My
for
pleasure.
sharing your wisdom with the listeners today.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure.